So I shared the story about Singapore and how we're an Asian tech hub. And I think the story of Singapore cannot be different, from the growth of Southeast Asia as a tech region. Right? We talk about Southeast Asia becoming entering the digital decade and entering the golden decade of tech. And I think this is down to demographics, right? So in a region where there's a population of about 650 million, you have about 440 million internet users and about 350 million people who use the internet for services, for digital services. And the interesting thing about these numbers is that a lot of us only came online in the past 2 to 5 years because of COVID and other reasons. And this exponential growth of digital adoption, exponential growth of people using digital services have really supercharged the internet economy in Southeast Asia. So that is the main reason. I always like to say demographics is destiny, and I think Southeast Asia will hit about $1 trillion GMV by the end of this decade. Yeah, so I think the story about tech must be about how it solves the problems of tomorrow, of today and tomorrow, right? And today I think we have two big problems in society. One is obviously about digital and financial inclusion and the inequalities that come along without it. And the second is obviously about the environment. And I think for tech to be able to solve problems, you need to do two things. One thing is tech must be used for real-world applications, use cases. And the second is the ability to scale those solutions into something that can be commercial, financial, and of course sustainable over time. I think in this vein, this is how Singapore approaches tech. I think on one hand, as a government, as an agency, as regulators, we love to work with industries and companies for them to test bed their new technology, to bring technology to the market. So the good example is our agri-tech scene in Singapore. So we look at cultivated protein, cultivated meat, and working with our regulators, we have managed to bring cultivated meat to the market with Eat Just, which is an American company. And of course, they would be the first to mass produce it in Singapore. On the other hand, it's about how tech companies, after test bedding, after prototyping their product, are able to commercialize and scale it. And this is a function of the amount of venture capital that's available in the region, and also tech companies working with larger corporates, larger MNCs, larger tech companies, participating in open innovation challenges, co-innovating with these larger companies, finding their first customer there, and being able to scale their solution. So I think this is how Singapore approaches tech. How do we help technology and technology companies, first of all, test bed and develop a prototype, and after that, being able to commercialize at scale to solve, hopefully, the world's largest problems. I think, this pertains to the earlier point that I mentioned, right? I think, technology is neutral, and technology can drive society in two directions, right? Technology can be used for ill or even have unintended consequences, like, say, inequalities, the lack of digital inclusion, and of course be harmful to the environment. But tech can also be used for good, tech for good. And that is about including more people in the digital economy, increasing financial inclusion, for example, and helping to solve problems in the environment. So I feel like a positive orientation and an optimistic view about tech is that it drives towards positive change and how we are able to use tech to make society a better place for all of us.